Hello, I'm Dr. Wendy Rowley, and this is the series The New Connection, Episode 6. Yes, Episode 6. I'm not a number person, I'm a visual person. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to take a deeper look at the potentials that are here, and we're going to take a look at what happens when you do healing work. What is that potential about? And I could speak a lot about that, but I'm going to let Aliena come in to do that because I am really busy preparing for the Great Global Healing Party, January 22nd through 26th, 2024. It's got wonderful interviews with a whole bunch of juicy people who can help you understand some of the things that Aliena is saying about our collective consciousness and our connection there. And we've got healers and all sorts of fascinating people. And if you should miss that, the video energy work will be on the web under a playlist on YouTube called The Great Global Healing Party. And the events will continue 4 times a year for free, always for free, that you may partake and that we may proceed in volume, because the more, the merrier. Okay, let's see what Aliena is going to tell us about healing and potentials. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. This is Aliena of Cosmic Service, a Pleiadian mother of sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, peace be with you. In this episode, indeed, we are talking about healing and potentials. Now, in the New Connection, episode 10, there is talk about the potentials that can take place if you come together to do profound healing work as a group. And in this one, we're going to give a segue of understanding of what happens when you do healing work individually and what happens when you do healing work collectively, and what is the difference in potentials between those two paradigms. Spiritual energy work, different forms of new energy work coming in. You're seeing more and more doctors starting to percolate and develop. It's a small trend, but it is increasing, trying to develop integrated paradigms. And in a lot of them, they are bringing in energy workers, healers, people who know how to work at the spiritual energy level in the healing arts. And this is purposeful of why this is coming forward now, because the medical profession is realizing drugs and surgery can't do it all, and you need some other therapies. Diet and nutrition and lifestyle is extremely important. As this one read, Harvard said 85% of disease is because it is lifestyle related. Not eating right, not taking care of the body, not living right. Basically, overindulgence. We may simplify it. And there's many, many reasons why that happens, from the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. And we have empathy for all those who suffer from anything in those categories and know that there is help there and that there's multiple types of help available for you. And maybe in those types of things, you need a multi-disciplined approach, not just physical. And this is why we're bringing up this subject today, one of many reasons. So these doctors are now bringing in the energy workers, the body taken care of, the lifestyle things, and then their own therapies. And sometimes they're bringing in spinal adjusters or body workers or massage people, but they're realizing that the holisticness of a being, of a human being, a human body type, a being, the spirit within that body type, a being means it's someone with a presence. And you have a presence. And you know that. Because if you have ever seen someone who's passed away, there is no presence. And we hate to be crude, but it is the most complete, different example that we can give. So the potentials in healing, when you heal individually, at the level of the healing arts, which is where the deeper healing happens, because it gets at the level of those stuck consciousness, that whether they be emotional or mental or in your ancestral past. Yes, you can carry energy from your ancestral past of ancestors that you have. And you also are in that ancestral past as an ancestor, because ancestral energy is a group energy. So it's you within that group and the group within you. And that's the best way to sum it up. And there's different levels to ancestral energy as you clear through the energetic anatomy of your spirit that overlays the physical body, which is basically what all energy healing is about. It's about healing that spiritual body. And that healer reads that spiritual body because they've just learned to read that subtle energy. There's no great magic or mystery about it. It's just if you are unfamiliar with it and you have not had the experience of it, it can be fantastic, far out, and sound impossible. But once someone has an experience in healing that is part of their spiritual nature, something changes in them and they have to open up a little bit. Many, after the fact, will try to deny it or get doubt about it or say, did that really happen? Or I must have just imagined that, but this is just something that happened. Or maybe I was partly asleep, dreamed it, because I felt a little drifty during that work, that healing work. But later, they will always come down to some level of conviction, because that's a comfort. It's a comfort to know that you are connected to something greater than yourself, and that you have the ability to actually do profound healing within yourself. So that's one of the consciousness changes of energy work in your spiritual nature, an opening. And the second thing you get from your spiritual nature when you do individual healing work is you get the release of the charge, the trouble, the disharmony, the feeling, the repetitive thought. And that goes. And then the third thing that changes is the relationship on some minute level that you had with the person or the group that you had that friction with. It only takes you to change a lot. And we're going to quote this one's phrase that she has been using for the Great Global Healing Party. When you change yourself, you uplift the world. And that is true, because you uplift the people around you because they no longer have to vibrate to the same charge that you both shared. In the healing arts, they call it a match. They call it a resonant frequency vibration of the same disharmony in both people. So sometimes you have the consciousness where you don't realize that's what it is and you think it's their fault. Sometimes you have the consciousness that I realize I'm part of this, but I don't know how to fix it. And sometimes you go all the way to the level of your own heart and you know that something profound needs to be changed at a deeper level in the heart. So those are the three levels of conscious awareness of an individual in healing. Do they think it's someone else's fault and they can't reflect back on themselves? Do they think it's a group problem or a problem between two people and that they are part of that problem because they feel it on some level? And do they realize that it's also a heart problem, because why can't they stay in love and see the beauty in each other, the divinity, the beauty, the love, the attempt of all people mostly to do what is the higher will for the greater good of all, which is very innate in humanity as a whole. It's part of your spiritual nature, that desire deep within. So those are the three wonderful things that happen with individual healing at the basic level. On the deeper level, you have changed something in your spiritual anatomy, in your spirit body. And there's an interim spirit body you actually work for. And there is the actual spirit body that evolves. But the interim spirit body, we call the change body. And that's what the healers work through. And so when that is changed, your soul and your higher self can bring in something new. Because if you have a pipe and there's a clog in it, water can't get through. The clean, clear water can't get through. And that water is becoming mucky and dirty. So in healing, you have taken out that muck and dirt and you've opened the tube again or the pipe, and the energy can flow through, and that is called healing. And that soul and higher self bring in a new frequency, a new vibration, a new thought, a new consciousness, a new feeling, a new way of being, a new idea that might occur to you on how to work within that group problem. A new solution might come through. You might wake up, have a dream with an understanding of something. You might have an aha in a daydream and realize an idea. The soul will percolate through to you through its connection to the creative forces and the great being you call God, or the creator, or source, or divine intelligence, or whatever you want to say. And so that new flow of connection to source, to the greater good, to your true nature is now open again. So life is a dance. I'm in balance, I'm out of balance. Oh wait, I'm in balance, I'm out of balance. I'm in balance, I'm out of balance. I'm in balance, I'm out of balance. I'm out of balance again on the same issue. I will keep working that. Sometimes there's layers to work through on an issue in healing. So that's how we'd like to sum up individual healing. Now let's talk about what happens when you come together and do group healing. What is group healing about? Group healing is the heart level. It's already a knowing that we need to change something profound and we need to do it together. Group healing is like a call. It's like, I want to do that. That's positive. That makes a difference. I'd like to be part of the solution. I've got to try that. Let's at least try it. Let's go to that event and see what that's like. I've been looking for answers. Things aren't working so well on some levels. Maybe these people have figured something out, because there's a lot on the web about healing and about spiritual events. And a lot of people are going to these now. What's that about? My friend is doing that. She's invited me. Okay, let's go. And you have, usually in a group environment, an experience, because there's more power in group intent, because you're now working at the soul group level. So that's one major difference between individual and group healing, because the soul group level of coming together as a group to heal is at a more profound level of creation. And it's at a more profound creational level in consciousness in the system of Earth. So your group creating is a call, and it's profound, and it is deep, and it affects creation. So you've got your microcosm of how you affect your little world and your creations within that, and you have the macro world of you coming together for larger group creations. And you know the negative of that, like the 2 wars going on the earth right now. Now, this one once said, well, how can that man do that right after COVID and he creates a war? And we said, well, to him, it was opportunity, because that was his consciousness. And she had to step back and go, yeah, you can't judge. You just can't judge. So when you do group consciousness healing, group healing, you must not be in judgment. You must just say, this is an old energy that we don't want anymore. And a lot of people are looking at the situations on earth and recognizing that we've been through this, it's old, and we've done it. So that's one of the things about group healing. The other thing that's really interesting about group healing is not only do you get a higher correspondence healing individually, where you have layers and layers and layers and layers of your spiritual anatomy that go from you now, in my own relationship to self, to the group, all the way up to the collective. So there's a higher correspondence at the collective level that overlaps your individual level. And this one would most likely, and I could hear her thinking in the background, that is a way of saying your universal life is your group life force, you all share together, and your individual life force. So universal life is the group, and life force is the individual. And that is a clearing in between the membrane of the universal and personal life force, the group life force and my individual life force. So when you go to group healing events, sorry, this one's got a tickle and she wants it out. She said so. Hair. We can use the arms because they're part of the upper channels. And that's why healing is so profound through the hands. And you always want to think of your hands as giving a blessing because they are connected to divine levels of healing. So the throat is part of that, higher creation. Okay, so sorry, I just might be a strange thing for some people to see the hands move. And this one only has me down to the neck, which is a good thing. Don't go all the way in. Okay, and we popped into that thought, but anyway, let's move out. And so the group level is an amazing thing because you get a level that coincides the group to your individual cleared. So you get a type of individual healing, and you also get the group healing. Now, when you get the group healing by partaking in group healing events, it's in the now. It's right away a palpable difference. And this one describes it as leave feeling lighter. There's a lightness of being that comes in because the soul forces are coming through at a group level. And that is profound. And many, many, many people will have an experience of some part of their spiritual nature in a group spiritual event. And that's why these are becoming so popular, because that is one of the setups. That is part of the design of group energy work, so that people may come together and feel the power of it. And that is one of the beauties of the Creator. There is actually a section in the Akashic Records that is about the beauties of the Creator. And this one has gone and looked at that quite intensely at a period of time. She's sort of forgotten about that. And so we're reminding her that as a little hint for her research. All right. So there is, and this one has always said, if you're trying to learn to meditate, do it in a group because it's more profound. Well, these are some of the reasons. So there's not only meditations, but now there's going to be group healing events. And this one is doing some of that. So the other thing is, besides the feelings that you get with the healing and the individual and group level healing that you get, and the call that is the soul group work and the profundity of it, the third thing we want you to know about group healing is that not only do you get it right away, but you create a profound potential at the collective level for others to manifest it easily. That others may manifest it easily. For by doing the work, you remove the charge of an old energy in the consciousness level that you share as a group, where you are creating as a group for the greater whole. So it is a type of service work where you not only get it individually and collectively, but you set up a potential for all. And so this is the call going out now through all sorts of groups around the world to begin profound healing. And this is what this one's work is about. And the only reason why she's come out onto the World Wide Web, because she had no intention of doing that in her lifetime. She said, I don't need that. I don't think I need that. Oh, I need that. You mean I have to go out and do this there? Okay, I'll do it. And that was her journey. And it took her a little longer to get here, but her timing was right on. Because she could have had her setups in place, but that's okay. She's working hard. And we're talking about technology and internet, and websites and all that, but that's okay. It's all good. For your soul will just move you along. And that's called the friction of the soul. We have an article on her website about that you might find interesting. It's under the wisdom section, the wisdom channel section, for free. It's there. You just have to scroll down. She's moving those forward each year. And you just might have to scroll down through the monthlies of that year to find 2 particular articles that we have in there that'll go forward with her through time. Okay, so not only do you create a profound potential for others to more easily manifest that particular theme or that which is healed on, but you start to create a lightness in the group consciousness field that allows a space for new things to come in, because it's a giant pipe of a global collective consciousness. And if you clear out parts of that pipe, more energy comes in, more solutions, more healing, more promises, more light, maybe no wars in the future. Maybe we learn to get along and share and trade. Maybe we come together, even though we're separate and we have our own financial gains. Maybe we come together for solutions. And the solution is the most important thing. And the money is second, unlike a lot of what you see today. So the potentials for creation, for change, for manifesting solutions and peace are greatly enhanced. Greatly enhanced, greatly enhanced. And you shave off some of the time of going through a slower road to those solutions. So some people use the word fast track system to move things along. We use the word quantum human potentials. You increase your quantum human potentials, because when you create something new and leave space for something new, you pull that potential closer to a level of manifestation among all the other potentials that are possible. So we want you to contemplate this and have a deeper understanding of the profundity of working in groups together for peace, for healing, for solution, for envisioning pictures of that peace and that solution, and that it is profound to come together and work in groups. And listen to the Human Potential, episode 10, and the Heartfield series, episode 29, and you'll find some segues to this talk. You're starting to realize that there's like a level to these talks, and there exactly is. And let us tell you, the Heartfield series is your connection to the creative source. The Human Potential is your connection to your soul group creational abilities. And the new connections are your potentials of change. So, from the spirit to the physical. And we wish you peace. We wish you abundant manifesting in these new paradigms, and abundant peace and healing. And there are so many of us, and in the angelic and archangelic and higher kingdoms, who are all poised to do this work with you. For no one in the Creator's higher levels of creation creates alone. It is a large group project. And this is why the angelic realm is not so close to humans at this time, because they are working at very high levels of new creations and potentials, for they have finished their part with your form and your spiritual anatomy and your interim spirit body. And those setups are done. And now they're working at new potentials and other things at those levels. So, heady, but beautiful. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. All right. This is Dr. Wendy Rowley. This is a very juicy and inspiring and less techy in the spiritual anatomy episode, and I'm really glad for that. Sometimes you just need to hear something that warms your heart, gives you hope and promise, and it just sounds so beautiful. That is the reason why I chose to let Aliania come to channel, because as I was doing this work and hearing what was being said, I was realizing there was an eloquence in the language and in the energy behind what I was hearing that I could not reproduce as well. the way that they describe things is extremely beautiful. I don't maybe have that gift of writing like some people do, or that gift of speaking. And maybe I do, and maybe I don't. I shouldn't limit myself, but I was just so professed, and I had never really been interested in channeling, nor ever planned to do it. But I did for you all, that she could come in and speak directly through me. And I know there's people that give the messages that they hear, but I felt that you would get a little bit more by letting her do that. So I hope you accept the oral channeling of someone, because it's a different kind of thing, but so many are doing it now. I'm grateful for them to come forward, because this isn't something, like I said, that I was exactly comfortable doing. So thanks for your support. I hope you can subscribe or listen, or put it out there on the web for others to listen to this series, so that we may build, the whole point is maybe build the momentum of the volume of people at the Great Global Healing Party, so that we may do more profound healing for the greater good of all. Thank you. Peace be with you all, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.